Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagini Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshini. Today we are going to see the glory of Gita Mahatmyam, the shorter version of 7 shlokas attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. And this Mahatmyam is also like a Phalashruti. Yeah? And Adi Shankaracharya, has written a wonderful bhashyam, introductory bhashyam before beginning the Bhagavad Gita. And in that bhashyam, Shankaracharya says how the minds of people are, bahirmukha, that is extroverted, and people are all busy. So Adi Shankaracharya wrote this like thousands of years ago, 1200 years ago, that how there is a constant seeking, yeah, and the seeking and aspiring is very much centered on the human being. Why? Because we know that only the human being has the faculty of choice. No? Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. So the concept of free will is there, by which the humans aspire to be different and have all these short-term goals, long-term goals, all of which can be classified under the 4 Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now, we don't find this kind of, aspiration or goal hunting in animals and plants. Yeah. And so Shankaracharya says, I must write a bhashyam and clarify all the, erroneous notions and preconceived ideas that people have about the, the nature of the jiva, about life, and about the world in general. Yeah. So we see that the Bhagavad Gita is a timeless, universal scripture. So wherever there are humans in any part of the world, it has got a relevant message. Yeah. And so the problem here, Shankaracharya says, that is not that as humans one is desiring something. But what is the problem? The problem is not knowing that one does not need anything. One is complete. Yeah. So seeking desires are justified. The Vedas also say, come on, you take the pravritti marga first, fulfill your desires in a legitimate dharmic way, and then slowly come to the path of renunciation. So the problem is not seeking or desiring. The problem is not knowing that one does not lack anything. In other words, there is ajnanam, and that is the fundamental universal problem of self-ignorance. And we have just seen after our study of the Bhagavad Gita, how in the 18 chapters this Bhagavad Gita Shastram unfolds the Mahavakyam Tat Tvam Asi. That is, you want to be significant, you want to be peaceful, you want to be happy, you want to be secure, you are already that. Tat Tvam Asi. Yeah? And so this fundamental problem of constantly and continuing to seek, in an extroverted manner, Shastra says this is like the musk deer. There is supposed to be this animal musk deer which has the perfume in its navel, stomach region, but it smells it. But then it is running here and there in search of the source of that perfume. And many other examples which we are familiar, like the old lady who has lost her needle inside the house and where there is no light. And she comes out, there is a street light, and she's looking for the lost needle outside where there is light. Or the lady who is wearing a necklace around the neck, like a choker type of necklace. But she's looking for the necklace which she thinks is lost. Or we may have placed our phone or car keys or glasses in our own pocket and we're looking all over it. Yeah? So the Gita Shastra asks us to examine the nature of our pursuit, the nature of the mind, and so turns the focus inwards. Yeah? That is the glory of the Gita. Now, we have just completed, what is called a Pujita Vichara. Pujita Vichara means what? A sacred inquiry. The sacred Shravanam of the 18 chapters of the Gita. Systematically, we have done chapter by chapter, topic wise, verse by verse. Recently, over 3.5 years. And so, the Shastras and Shankaracharya says every Bharatiya, every Hindu must compulsorily study at least this one Shastra. Gita Sugita Kartavya. Now, but the Gita is, as you know, part of the Smriti, Itihasa called Mahabharatam. Yeah? And there is a prevalent myth that one should not keep the Mahabharatam book at home, let alone study it. I don't know if it is still valid, this kind of thinking, but we have just seen how erroneous it is. Why? Because the Mahabharatam is the book of Dharma. It has all the Samanya Dharmas, universal values, and it has the Vishesha Dharma. What is Three Dharma, Purusha Dharma, Pati Patni Dharma, Raja Dharma? What is the Dharma between brothers? Everything is there. And so there is a mantra which says, what is not in the Mahabharatam cannot be found anywhere else. And so Mahabharatam is called the Panchama Veda. It is a complete book of Dharma. And so now we have studied the 18 chapters systematically. But what is more important is that we have to internalize the wisdom and the teachings. Now, have we assimilated it? Yeah, has it been brought down at the level of the heart? Yeah. So this assimilation and how the Gita can reflect in the daily life, is a little bit of what we're going to see today. There is a Subhashitam which talks about the glory of knowledge. Now, how do we receive knowledge? Acharya Padam Adatte. Padam Shishyaha Swamedhaya. Padam Sa Brahmacharibhyaha. Padam Kala Kramena Cha. So it says that there are these 4 sources of knowledge, or Pada means quarter. So 1/4 of the knowledge we get from Acharya, from the Guru. Acharya Padam Adati. Why only 1/4? Is the Guru holding back the 3/4? No. So the Guru gives fully. Yeah? In fact, for the Guru there is no problem. Guru has to assume our problem and proceed to solve it. The mithya problem of sorrow and fear. So what this means is that at any time we can only absorb so much because of the patratvam. I have only so much viveka, so much maturity. So Padam Adate Acharya. Then second quarter, Swamedhaya. by my own reflection and my own anubhava, and when I do my own study, mananams, I digest a little bit more. The second quarter is received. Then the third quarter is from Sabrahmacharibhyaha, from group discussions, when I discuss with my friends or colleagues, or I join some short-term camps, long-term camps in the Gurukulam, we will find this possibility, of interactions. And then we are enriched by the Vadas, by Vadas. How can this point be understood in a different way? So, through the interactions, I receive some more knowledge, And the last quarter, the last bit of knowledge is received how? Kala kramena cha. In time. We cannot force it. So what this means is that life teaches us so many lessons, And as I go through the life situations, I also gain the maturity, and then also the wisdom comes along with that. So today we are going to see some of these lessons which the Gita study blesses us with through the Gita Mahatmyam, the 7 shlokas of the Gita Mahatmyam. And you all are very familiar with it, but today we will try to connect it with whatever we have learnt in the 18 chapters of the Gita briefly. Okay? And Rajeshwari can chant after me. Okay? Let's take the first one. Gita Shastramidam Punyam.
Gita Shastramidam Punyam.
Patet Prayatah Puman.
Yah patet prayatah puman.
Vishnu Padamavapnoti.
Vishnu padamavapnoti.
Shokadivarjitah.
Vayashokadivarjitah.
Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Patet Prayatah Puman. Vishnu Padamavapnoti. Bhayashokadivarjitah.
Gita Shastramidam Punyam. Yah patet prayatah puman. Vishnu padamavapnoti. Vayashokadivarjitah.
So, Gita Shastram. Idam Gita Shastram, which means this Gita Shastram. Yeah. And Gita Shastram, we know, is really a moksha Shastram. Yeah. That is, the commitment of the Gita is to remove sorrow. Shoka Moha Nivriti Shastra. But first, what will it do? The Gita is a yoga Shastra. It is going to teach us the intelligent art of living, or the art of intelligent living first. Yeah. And then give us the vision. So, Idam Gitam Shastram Punyam. This is a very, very auspicious study. Yeah. Punyam. And we know that, we don't connect to the Gita if we don't have this special Punyam. I told you there are 2 kinds of Punyam. One Punyam is Abhyudaya Phala Punyam. That is when everything is going well in life, good job, good status, and family is doing well, children are studying well, no want. That is one Punyam. No? But to desire the higher knowledge, to address the fundamental problem of ignorance and moha, for that we need a special Punyam. Yeah? And that is talked about here. Idam Shastram Gita is a Punyam. And Yaha Pathet Prayatah Puman. That is Yaha Puman Prayatah Pathet. Puman is generally man, but here we can take it as the human being. And the human person, the jiva, who studies it. Prayataha. Prayata means purified. That means there must be already some kind of viveka in our mind to want to study the Gita. Yeah? And that is Yaha Pathet Prayatah Puman. Then what will happen to that person? Vishnoho Padam Avapnoti. So, we have seen the serious student of the Gita will attain what? Vishnoho Padam. And what is Vishnoho Padam? It is not a location in time and space, as understood as Vaikuntha or Kailasa, we have seen it comes from the dhatu vish. Vish means to enter. So that which has entered the entire creation, in other words, the all-pervading Vishnu Tattvam is meant by Vishnoho Padam here. So one will get the clarity, one will gain self-knowledge by studying the Gita. But what will you do before that? Bhaya Shoka Adi Varchita. Bhayam is fear, Shoka is sorrow, and Adi, in this Adi Padartha, it's etc. Yeah? Now, etc. means competition, insecurity, depression, frustration, anger, greed, hatred. So many offshoots are there because of the original root problem of Ajnanam. And so, the Gita will first address the emotional instability in a person. We know that very well. Look at the situation of Arjuna. Arjuna is filled with, shoka, and that is due to moha, and that is due to Ajnanam. And then chapter by chapter, Krishna is elevating Arjuna's mind and asking him to do what? Have samatva buddhi. Samatva buddhi is to be balanced in the face of opposites. So in life, all of us, we sometimes feel like running away like Arjuna, because by facing a war-like situation at home, see when Corona came, everybody was so helpless. Yeah? And because of that helplessness, there is a surrender. Surrender to something beyond my understanding, and that is the divine. So the first step is really, in case of a choiceless situation of a loss or of a health issue or some unpleasant duty I'm confronted with, is what the first step is? Acceptance. No? Acceptance, why? Because the law of karma is Ishvara. Ishvara is manifesting in my life as all these situations, what is expected of me. So I really have no choice but to accept the situation and not be in denial first. No? So that is the Samatva Buddhi first talked about in the Gita. And so then I find that I will have this inner balance. Then what do I need to do for that Samatva Buddhi? Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi is, see, when I go to a temple, then sometimes I'll get a nice laddu. Then when I'm late, sometimes what will I get? Only tirtham. I should not say only tirtham, but both laddu and tirtham I will receive with the same happiness. Is it not? Will I go and fight with the priest and say, just because I came late, you have not given me a laddu? So too, how can I fight with Ishvara and say, I worked so hard for this promotion and all that I've done for my family, for my nation, for my country, for my society, and this is your gift, this is your reward? No. So that prasad buddhi is what was talked about in the Gita earlier chapters 3, 4 and 5. And so acceptance means what? I have to be proactive, and that is Krishna's advice to Arjuna. You think of me and you perform your duty. And from that Samatva Buddhi, that is the Prasada Buddhi, will proceed to what? Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi is that I am not in charge. So less and less of me and more of you, Bhagavan. So may one bring Ishvara into one's life through that Ishvara Arpanam and the Prasada Buddhi. Then we will have the Samatva Buddhi. And then with the Samatva Buddhi, we go on to gain the vision of the Moksha Shastra, that is, everything is Ishvara ultimately. People often ask these questions, if Ishvara is so compassionate and so merciful, why are these horrible crime, violence and wars happening in the world? And the only answer is, Ishvara is manifesting as the Gahana, precise law of karma. Yeah, that is Gahana Karmano Gatihi. So this is the first stage of acceptance and Prasada Buddhi and Samatva Buddhi. and also a certain level of disidentification. Yeah, disidentification means I am not in charge. Yeah, Bhagavan is in charge. Yeah. Then let's go to the next second shloka. गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च
गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च
नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च
नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च
गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च
गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च.
Yeah. So Gitayaha adhyanam Shilasya. So the one who does adhyanam, we saw this word recently in the chapter 18 of the Gita, where Krishna says the one who does adhyanam is a serious student of the Gita. What happens to that person? Aham jnana yagnena ishtahasyam, Krishna said. That is, it is like the highest puja to me. Because the mumukshu, the jiva, is wanting to understand my para prakriti swarupaha. So it is like as though I am being worshipped by the one who is studying the Gita. So Gita adhyana shilasya, that is for this student. And what else? Pranayama parasyacha. So the student is also doing pranayama, this Ashtanga yoga. Why is Ashtanga yoga a valuable sadhana? Because it purifies all the levels of our personality, all the panchakoshas. Especially pranayama is very, very important because it's a subtle link between the gross and the subtlemost layers. So for the student who is also a yogi, who does sadhanas to purify the layers of the bodies, and the one who is a serious student of Gita, na eva santi hi papani purva janma kritani cha. So the papa, what is the papa here? Purva janma kritani papa. So purva janma is the entire infinite store of sanchita. Now we know the three karmas: sanchita, prarabdha and agami. So one portion of the sanchita infinite store is already begun to manifest. Prakarabdha at birth. And even as we are exhausting this current janma, if we are not karma yogis, there is karmas being added. We are creating karmas which will, connect with the sanchita cake, karma cake. So here, how to break the cycle? The cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam is being pointed out in this shloka. By studying the Gita, when I have the samatva buddhi, by being a karma yogi, I am already reversing the flow. Reversing the flow by not seeking and being attached to the result. So karmas, whatever I do, is offered to Bhagavan, and they're as good as non-actions because they're not going to bind me. And so here Krishna is talking about how, if there is no karta, then there is no bhokta. And the jiva is really karta, bhokta, jiva. Karta eva bhokta. Yeah? I desire to do something. Why? I want to enjoy it. Yeah? But if I perform the karma in an enlightened way, like a Janaka, like a Sri Rama, like Sri Krishna, then the actions cannot bind me. So then what? Only the prarabdha I have to go through. And that also becomes badhita karma. Badhita means also negated. Negated means it's like a shadow. The jnani is very clear. The body goes through the karma. But I am akarta abhokta. No, na kurvan, na karyan, navadvare pure dehi sukham aste. So that, that view is there for this jnani, that I am not this body mind which has to go through karma phala. Okay? The third dhyana shloka. Mala nirmochanam pumsam जलस्नानं दिने दिने
मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने
सकृद्गीताम्भसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्
सकृद्गीतां पसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्
निर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्भसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्
मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्बसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्
मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने 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 means every day. I'm sure we all bathe at least once or maybe even twice every day, unlike people in Saudi Arabia, I've heard, because yeah, sometimes they just put perfume and instead of having a bath. But for a Hindu, we know how important water is. Before every ritual, we sprinkle some water. So water is like a purificatory act that we do with jalam. So mala nirmochanam, the dirt that sticks to the physical body, dine dine, every day. How do we get rid of it? Snanam. Yeah. And then also, when we do a special snanam, what is a special snanam? Chanting mantras, Gange Chayamune Chaiva, Aghamarshana Suktam. It's like if I have the bhavana that I'm doing Abhishekam to the Devata that is indwelling this, the temple of, in the temple of Ishvara, that is the body, then that is a very special snanam. Yeah. So all that is meant in the first line. Then here it is talking about the Ganga, Gita Ganga Snanam. See, Ganga Snanam is very dear to everyone. Yeah, people from all over the world, they want to go and have at least 3 dips in the Ganga. Why? To purify the 3 bodies. No? And Shankaracharya also has mentioned that Bhagavad Gita Kinchid Dhita Ganga Chalalava Kanika Pita. The one who drinks even one sip of Ganga Jalam or has a dip and studied the Gita a little bit, then Tasya Yamena Na Kriyate Charcha. There will be no confrontation with Yamadev. So Yama will not come before you. Okay, which means the fear of loss, the fear of death will not be there for such a person. Yeah. So here, Sakrat Geetam Bhasi, Ambas means water. So in the waters of the Gita, that is studying and bathing in the Gita Ganga, when you do such a snanam, then what? Samsara Malanashanam. The original impurity. Impurity is what? Taking anatma for atma. The original delusion, the moha, the ignorance is the impurity. And that gets washed away by bringing in the waters of the Gita Ganga. And so our daily bath and all can only cleanse the physical body. Then we have japa, parayanam and all that, which cleanse the mind to a certain level. The mind gathers so much dirt every day. Is it not? We interact with our employees, or at work or at home, we have arguments. And then in all this vyavahara, so much manam can be sticking to the mind. So at the end of the day, we try to wash off the malam by doing some japam, some om chanting, and some dhyanam. If we do, then we'll go to sleep with a very, clean conscience, as they say. But still, that is not enough, because the original malam, that avaranam, is still there. And that avaranam, or the veil of ignorance, can only go by Shastra, Shravanam Mananam Nididhyasnam, Guru, Shastra, Mukhat, by the grace of the Guru. Next is a very well-known Gita shloka. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyai Shastra Vistaraihi.
गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्ये शास्त्रविस्तरैः
या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता
या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता
गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्ये शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता
गीता सुगीता कर्तव्यै किमन्यै शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता.
Yes. So, Gita Sugita Kartavya. Gita, no? That is the Bhagavad Gita when it is Sugita, when it is well studied, no? Well studied, that is a mandated duty. It is a Kartavya. Now the Vedas also say Swadhyaya na pramaditavyam. That is, may one not neglect study of one's own scripture. Yeah? That is the religion, the culture in which one is born into. One has to have that Shastra Shravanam always. It is a mandate in the Vedas. So, Gita being a Sarva Veda Sara Sangraha. Veda, the essence of the Vedas is in the Gita. How? The Karma Marga, Prakriti Marga is there as Yoga Shastra in the Gita. And then the Upanishad content is there as Moksha Shastra, as the vision. Yeah. So this is called a complete Shastra in itself. And many of us may not be, may lack Sanskrit knowledge, or some person to explain us the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are at the Shruti level. It can be quite challenging to understand. But look at the Gita. It is meant for the majority. It is called a life manual. Life manual, and which gives us so many teachings on on moderation in life and how to gain peace and security and detachment in life. And so it is meant for really for grihasthas, all over the world. Whereas sannyasis, who have already minimum roles to play, are generally advised to take up the Upanishads because they have the space, they have the time, and they have the leisure. Yeah. Whereas the Gita will guide the active person. Who is the active person? The grihastha. The grihastha who is balancing all the priorities and juggling with all the goals. Yeah. And so that grihastha is addressed as you do the Pancha Mahayajnas, you develop detachment, yeah, and you have the Samatva Buddhi, perform your duties, and then you also pursue the knowledge of the higher Para Prakriti. So Gita Sugita Kartavya. Then kim anyehi shastraihi vistaraihi. What is the need to go to any other detailed shastras? Yeah. Now, this does not mean that one should not study Upanishads or other prakaranas. Yeah, one, especially after the study of Gita, it is recommended to pick up a few Upanishads and to also study. See, Upanishads are the revelations to the sages of Bharata Desha. Yeah, so they are the ultimate apaurisheya pramana. Yeah, that is just revealed in their minds by Bhagavan. So that is the ultimate source. Whereas if you take all the secondary literatures like the Puranas, some element of the human imagination will have crept in. So if you want the total purity and the direct nature of that Tattvam, then that is the Upanishad Pramana. But then Gita is also given the status of a Shruti. It is called Shrutiyon ki Rani. Then, and ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmat vinisrata. So that Bhagavad Gita has flowed, has flowed from where? From the lotus-like mouth of Padmanabha. Padmanabha is the lotus-naveled Lord Sri Krishna. And again, I have told you many times the various interpretations of Krishna. We know Krishna as the son of Devaki. We know Krishna as the Parthasarathi, charioteer for Arjuna. We know Krishna as the Gitacharya also. But the Krishna talked about in the Gita is the supreme reality, the Nirguna Parabrahma. That is the Krishna Tattvam. Okay. 5th shloka. Bharatamrita sarvasvam
Bharatamrita sarvasvam
Tradvinisritam
Vishnurvagrad vinishrutam
Gita Gangodakam Pitva
Gita Gangotakam Pitva
Janmana Vidyate
Punarjanmana Vidyate
Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnurvaktradvinisritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate.
Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnurvagrad vinishrutam Gita Gangotakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate.
So, Bharata Amrita Sarvasvam. And we know that the Bhagavad Gita is the shining jewel present in the Bhishma Parva of the Itihasa Mahabharatam, composed by the Veda Vyasa Charya. So that is totally a Bharatam. So the Amritam, that is what is the essence of Mahabharatam? Gita, Bhagavad Gita. It is like the fragrance of and actually Mahabharatam has many other jewels. No, it's called the 5 jeweled Itihasa. Niti Shatakam, Sunat Sajatiyam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, and of course the Bhagavad Gita. So Bharata Amrita Sarvasvam, and same thing, Vishnoho Vaktra. Vaktra means mouth. So that which is Vinisritam, that which is flowed from the lotus mouth, lotus-like mouth of Mahavishnu. Then Gita, Ganga, Udakam. Udakam means water. So, Pitva, having drunk the Gita, Ganga waters. Drunk means having studied this Gita. See, there are so many Bhagavad Gitas available in our Bharata Desha. No? Bala Gangadhara Tilak wrote a Gita in prison. Vinoba Bhave, the great worker, worked on the fields. He has written a beautiful Gita. And then Jnaneshwari Gita is very famous in Maharashtra. So many people have written about the Gita for this reason, because they want the seekers and mokshus to partake of this Amritam. Gita Gangodakam Pitva. Then what happens? If I study the Gita, Punarjanma na vidyate. So the Punarjanma will not be there. How? Because once the root cause is eliminated, then the effect will not be there. Ajnanam is the fundamental root cause, and when that is addressed by knowledge, then all the karmas are burnt. It is like, supposing, as an account holder, we have all these accounts, fixed deposit, current deposit, all that. But if the account itself is closed, then there is no question of all this interest developing and all the amount. Everything gets cancelled. So, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam is not there for one who is no more identified with the Anatma body, mind, sense complex, and who is one with the Atma Tattvam. Punarjanma na vidyate. So the one is free from the samsara chakra. You know the chakra which Shankaracharya keeps talking about? Avidya, Kama, Karma, Karma Phala, Papa Punyam, Janma. So in short, Avidya, Kama, Karma, Avidya, Kama, Karma. And when we address the Avidya, the root cause of samsara chakra stops, and then we have jumped out of it. But first we have to slow down the chakra through Samatva Buddhi, Viveka Buddhi, and then finally come to Brahma Buddhi, Atma Buddhi. Okay. Next. 6th.
This verse can be displayed 6 Amma.
Yes. This is a shloka which is common to dhyana also, if you remember.
Verse 6.
Sixth, no? We are in?
Yeah, but you are displaying in fifth verse.
Oh, sorry. Is it okay now?
Yes.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः
सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोक्ता गोपालनन्दनः
पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्
पार्थो वत्सत् सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्
सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्
सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोक्ता गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सत् सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्.
So here there is a beautiful analogy here. Sarvo Upanishadah Gava. If all the Upanishads were likened to cows, then who is the Dogdha, cowherd? Gopalaha. Gopala Nandanaha. The young, Krishna is the cowherd who would milk the cows. Then who is the calf? Parthaha Vatsaha. Vatsa means calf. So Partha Vatsaha. Then who is the Bhokta? See, the Bhokta means the enjoyer. Yeah? Sudhihi. Sudhihi means the one whose intellect is pure. Yeah? Like the intellect of a mumukshu. One who has done Purushartha Nishchaya. The one who's no more, chasing Artha Kama goals after security and entertainment and pleasure, because there is a pure buddhi. So, those mumukshus and devotees with Nishkama Bhakti are called Sudhis here. And they are what? Bhoktas, enjoyers of what? Gita Amritam. So the milk is the Amritam of the Gita, the teachings of the Gita, which is great, Mahat. So you see that Arjuna is the pretext, is the nimittam. Just as a calf, because for the calf, the mother cow will yield milk. So too, having Arjuna as pretext, we are all receiving over his shoulders the teachings of the Gita Amritam. Okay, next and the last one now, the seventh one. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Let me unmute. Yeah.
एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम्
Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva.
एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव
Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani.
एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि
Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva.
कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा
Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani. Karma Pekam Tasya Devasya Seva.
एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा.
So this is in a longer meter, which is called Trishtup meter. And what does this final shloka say? Ekam Shastram. There is only one scripture, universal, timeless scripture, obviously referring to Gita in this context. And Devaki Putra Gita. So the Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, that Krishna who gave this Gita Upadesha to Arjuna, that Gitam is the only Shastra. Yeah. Then Ekaha Devaha. There is only one divinity, one God. And who is that? Devaki Putra Eva. That is the son of Devaki. then there is only one mantra, and that is all the namas, the divine namas of Krishna. Namani yani, and karma api ekam. There is only one thing to do. And what is that? Tasya devasya seva. That is to serve that divine. Now, can you understand how wrongly this can be misinterpreted, this shloka? It may even sound very fanatical to other people. They may say, oh, Krishna, Mr. Krishna wants only namaskarams done to him. One should go to Krishna, see Krishna, study about Krishna, chant only his names and come to him. No, that is not the idea here. Yeah, as we know that Shankaracharya, will he ever compose such a shloka? No. Shankaracharya, being the Advaita Guru, is going to give us what? The vision of oneness. Yeah. So what the shloka says here is that there is the one supreme reality, Ekaha. That is the Devaha, Nirguna Parabrahma, but Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti. There is a mantra like that in the Rig Veda. There is only one Sat, but it manifests as infinite, countless forms. So we have the choice to worship our own Ishtadevata, based on my likes. No, I want to do Devi worship, Subramanya, and Shiva, Ganesha. Fine, go ahead, says the Shastra. But Sarvadeva Namaskaraha Keshavam Prati Gacchati. Just as all the rivers have the one ocean as their destination, all the prayers, all the pursuits finally will bring us what? To that one. Another example is given as the Tirupati Venkateshwara. There are so many ways to ascend Tirumala. One can go by helicopter, winch, by bus, or by steps, or by road. But finally, there is the one door to the Garbhagraham for the darshan of Bhagavan. So that is meant here that we can have lot of yogas, Ashtanga yoga, japa you keep on doing, pujas and seva, karma yoga, marga, but they all, help us on the path in stages to purify the mind and finally bring us to the Tattvamasi Mahavakyam. That is, you are that. So, and what is the one supreme talked about here? That Devaki Putra is the supreme. Yeah, and the seva of the supreme is the pursuit of that knowledge. Knowledge of Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. That from which the entire Srishti has manifested, by which everything is sustained and into which everything will fold back at Pralaya, is that one supreme. Yeah? And so you see at lower levels, at the level of Saguna Brahma, there is so much difference. How I worship, on which day I will worship, what Naivedyam I will offer to which Devata, how I will dress do Alankaram. There are countless differences. Yeah. But Shastra says that is only my lower Saguna Apara Prakriti Sarupa. So understand that is a stepping stone, that is an alambanam for you to come to the timeless, formless, unmanifest Para Prakriti Sarupa that I really am. Yeah? So that is, this shloka is really referring to that Parama Swarupa. So with that we have completed the Gita Mahatmyam, and it is said that may one repeatedly study the Gita. And a serious student will study the Gita, with meaning, and a casual student will study now and then, and maybe only do the Parayanam perhaps. So it is advised that okay, if you want to do Parayanam, do some Parayanam of the 18 chapters on, let's say, an Ekadashi or a Dwadashi, or Gita Jayanti, which is coming up on December 22nd. Yeah. If you can't do all 18 chapters, do 9. If not, do 1 Shatkam, 6, or 3 chapters, or 1 chapter, or 1 shloka, or half a shloka, or you just repeat Gita, 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 Gita. So we have seen these various levels of sadhana in that longer Gita Mahatmyam of the Puranas, the Gita Mahatmyam, where it is said that, if you can't even chant Gita name, you buy the Gita book and keep it in your altar. And people do that, right? So we have, all sizes Gita book, because when we do this, then it is said that Mahatmyam said all the sacred rivers and the Shaktis will be present in your home. Evil forces will not harm. All the Devatas, they are invited there for their Bhiksha. What is the Bhiksha? Your Parayanam, your study. That's what Krishna said, Jnana Yajnena Aham Ishtahasyam. So, that is the glory of the Gita. And we may have noticed with our grandparents how they would read the Ramayana regularly. This is why, because it is mandated in the Shastras. But today, unfortunately, what has happened? The majority of the people are not examining themselves, because there are many, many avenues of escape. If I have some uncomfortable situation, which is staring at me in the face, I have social media, I have entertainment, I have friends to call up and go out this club, that club. So we're missing the chance to do that inward introspection. Yeah? And so that Swadhyaya, daily Swadhyaya is very, very important. Not only Gita, Bhagavata Purana and and Ramayana, very, very important also. Yeah? Ramayana. So, you see, this is how the Bhagavad Gita blesses us in stages to live a very meaningful, objective, compassionate, conflict-free life in amidst the duties and responsibilities, the turbulence that is going to be there in the contemporary world. Since we cannot look into the future, we don't know what is going to come. So it is like, let me prepare myself. Let me have that jnana kavacham. Insulate myself with this knowledge, so I am prepared for anything to come in life. And that example of the rasagulla, remember? The gulla is that paneer, gulla, which is steeped in sugar syrup. So like that, our minds, they are like gullas, and they have to be steeped in Shastra syrup. Shastra syrup for removing that samsara malam on a daily basis. And up to the point when one gains the total clarity, one has to do this repeatedly. And the total clarity is when I can also say like Arjuna, Nashtaha mohaha smritihi labdha karishye vachanam tava. So my ignorance is gone, and I can see the mind has expanded to the understanding. All that is here is Ishvara. And that Ishvara includes body onwards. Body is a gift, support system is a gift, my family is a gift, the land I'm born into, the culture, and all the situations that are unfolding is all Ishvara. Yeah? So when I go through that situation, then it is as though I am doing Archana to Ishvara. That Rohit Sharma, they all went through the pain of the loss of the World Cup. That was a choiceless situation. So they are winners because they went through that situation and they did not run away. Yeah. So running away would be abandoning your puja. Yeah. And so whether it was Corona or all these losses on a personal level, on a national level, international level, the Gita empowers us with that knowledge and the long distance vision, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, and the Yoga Shastra is the relative power to face, every situation in any stage of life, and wherever one is. Okay? So that is the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Punya Shastra, because it gives both Abhyudaya Phalam as well as the Moksha. Okay? So we'll conclude. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ